cousin.
Hi, cousin.
Welcome to Calling Cousins. This is Cousin Ash calling from Arizona. We want to thank everyone for joining us today.
Cousin Sha here, calling from Colorado. Being a grown up is overrated. Hopefully, we have some beneficial advice on how to guide you in the right direction with our Adulting 101 section of our podcast.
Yep, being an adult is the dumbest thing I have ever done.
All right, the topic that we have for today is going to be different personality traits. We're doing like the A, B, C, and D ones. I think that there's multiple, but we're trying to make it easier because we
We're
don't
trying to
know
make
what
it
we are.
simple. Well, and I was gonna
Yeah,
say I didn't even know there was different one. I mean, I guess I remember type A. Oh, that's such a type A. But
right,
I didn't know there was A, B, C, and D, and apparently an X.
right. So we wanted to
Why
dig into
X?
this because we don't know what we are. So you guys are going to go on this adventure with us.
Okay, why?
And we will link an article. We're not obviously going to read the full article again, like we used to in the past, but we're just going to read the bullet points for each personality type, and then maybe you can figure out what you are.
Totally. Totes.
So, all right. So type A personalities. We're just going to go through this list. So time conscious. Or type A personalities thrive in startups and dynamic settings driven by a constant sense of urgency. They're also competitive. So competitiveness. They are natural competitors, typically excelling and leading the pack through sheer determination. They are very goal oriented with a focus on setting and achieving ambitious goals. Type A individuals are a key asset for their companies. Multitasking. They are adept in handling multiple tasks, a skill highly valued in today's fast-paced work environment. Leadership. Type A's are inclined towards leadership, adept at planning and inspiring teams with strategic vision. And then they are also stress tolerant. They perform best under pressure, showing remarkable resilience in the face of challenges.
Man, I feel like I'm half type A. Can I be an A minus?
Well, that's where you would be X because you're two mixed together.
Oh, that's true.
I
Because
agree. I feel like I am good at multitasking and I don't know,
goal
maybe not anything
oriented.
else. Yeah,
You're
I guess I
definitely
am goal
goal.
oriented.
Yeah.
But other
I
than
would
that, I don't
say
feel like with family and like games, like playing board games, I'm very competitive. But when it comes to work, I'm not very competitive.
well, that's bass backwards.
I know. I mean, I'm like, I don't know. I guess I am. Like when it comes to money, like I'll be like, I will work my ass off to get that bonus or whatever. But like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, hey, coworker, I'm going to throw you under the bus. F
Well,
off,
I guess
you
not
know?
competitive. So grandma would always say she wanted to be the best. She wanted to be the fastest typer or the, quickest at whatever it was. And so she always competed with the best worker. So that was her competitiveness coming out. But it
Mm,
wasn't like she wasn't going to go doom dirty.
right. Okay, that's fair.
I would say I'm definitely multitasking like a mofo. Leadership, I'm definitely good at leadership. I'm definitely time conscious. I'm not competitive. I'm not really goal oriented. Um, stress tolerance, please. I'm stressed out
Mm,
all the time.
yeah, but do you perform best under pressure?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that
Remarkable
either.
resilience in the faith of. Well, that's rude. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let's see what B is. I'm not going to go into reading everything. As you can tell, it sounds like we both have colds. So the more I talk, the more I cough. So I'm just going to do the main bullet points. Okay, so type B is a relaxed attitude. They are flexible, they are creative, They are interpersonal skills. I don't know what this one is, so I'm going to read this one. With strong communication and listening skills, they enhance team collaboration and client relations. Okay, see, I didn't know what that was. Work-life balance and non-competitive nature. Cool. Yeah, I'm not really any of these. Maybe.
I feel like we're both flexible. Like
I was going to say flexible, yeah.
when work throws something else at us, we usually adapt pretty quickly.
Yeah, the relaxed attitude, I'm not so much because it kind of goes into remain calm under pressure, fostering a stress-free work environment, ideal for high pressure roles. Yeah, I'm not really relaxed. I'm pent up.
No. And then the work-life balance, I feel like we both struggle
No.
with that.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so B is not the winner for either
Yeah,
of us.
I am not. I'm also not creative.
Nope, same.
I
Well,
don't
I
think
try to be.
you are. You do have it in you because you like to cook different things with your baking. You like to play. Oh, you love the elf on the shelf thing. That's a very creative feature. Um, you like doing different things with the kids, like, you know, like, well, most of I've seen is like the baking, but you also do a lot for like the class. So like you do a lot of games and that kind of stuff. And so I think you do
Yeah.
definitely have creative. And you used to have that cricket thing, right? You used to have one of those and you liked that.
Yep, I still have it.
But yeah, you are creative. You're creative and flexible. Yeah. Okay. So type B is like a hippie. Cool.
A hippie.
So type A is like business, right? So it's like corporate,
Right.
I would say. Okay, type B is like a hippie. Okay, cool. Let's see what C is.
All right. Type C is, I'll just go through the main ones too. So it's quiet, focused, introverted, thoughtful, controlled, cooperative, creative, and conflict resilient.
This is like the sweet kid in class.
Yeah, totally.
Like well behaved. Like you want this as your best friend. Am I any of these things? I'm focused.
Focused.
I'm
You're
thoughtful.
definitely not introverted.
No.
I wouldn't. I know that you're thoughtful, but I wouldn't say that you're like that. To me is like people pleasing thoughtful. Like you wouldn't
I
do things
love people
for
pleasing.
other people. No way.
Oh yeah. That's my whole life is I like to make other people happy. I'm definitely
Oh,
conflict resistant. Wait, is that resistant as in, okay, these individuals tend to avoid conflict and prioritize maintaining peace. That's definitely me.
yeah.
Keep the peace, man.
So this one's the
Creative
hippie.
now. Yeah, this one, yeah, yeah, I would just class this as a good kid in class.
A good kid.
Cooperative, despite their introvert nature, they work well with teams and strive group harmony. Yeah, I don't know. That one's kind of out there. Let's see what D is. Okay, D is negative affectivity. What is that? The frequently experienced negative emotion like fear, anxiety, and depression. All right, cool. All right, this is more
Okay.
real.
Uh-huh.
Social inhibition. Wow, I don't know what these words are, so I have to read these descriptions. Type D individuals often feel uncomfortable in social interactions and may avoid them altogether. Wow, this is a lot of the current generation, I gotta say. Pessimism, I know what that is. Organized.
They added it in here. They're like, oh, we need to add a D. All these kids are like,
organized, supportive, and problem solving. Okay, well, the first two were definitely the new generation, or first three. But I don't see them as organized, supportive, or problem solving. This is weird. This is like two. This is not. Those aren't the same thing, in my opinion.
See, if you look at different situations, like if you look at like,
Supportive.
uh,
Okay.
right, like the supportive, like not protesting, but where they're like walking together,
The
like the Pride Parade and that kind of stuff. Like they're
yeah,
supporting in these big ways, and I feel like that's definitely that generation.
definitely supportive. They're
Problem
not.
solving, I'm gonna say something that probably is gonna offend people, but I don't mean it in that way. But our grandma, we reference her a lot. We really should have her as one
I
of our guest speakers.
I know. I was thinking about that the other day. Go ahead.
Our grandmother, she used to say, if you want a job done quickly, don't hire the best person, hire the laziest person because they're going to figure out how to get it done the fastest. And I
Huh,
feel
I've
like
never heard her say that.
that's problem solving skills because you're going to get it done so that it's less inconvenient for you. You know what I mean?
But I wouldn't
That's how
class.
I would look at it.
Yeah, but I wouldn't class her as a type D. I would class her as a.
Oh, no, I just mean like I see that more as like the current generation. Like how we were
Really?
saying that this is more, yeah, like I feel
I
like
don't
they're just
know.
like get shit done and they're
See, I
gonna
feel like they
figure out
run
how to get it
away.
done.
They run away from the problems. They don't,
Yeah, okay,
and they
that's
just
fair.
want to complain about it and they don't want to fix it. I don't know. I have kind of
I
like a negative view on the current generation.
Yeah,
But it's just the sensitivity. I just have a hard time with the sensitivity. But and I am not a um, pessimist. I'm very much an optimist. And so if somebody views life as negative and scary, um, it's hard for me to connect with that.
yeah.
So yeah, I definitely am not type D. Well, okay, I figured out one we're not, or I'm
Well,
not.
I struggle because the organized one, I am, and I feel like I am very supportive. At least I try to be.
I feel like my friend Andrea, the one we just had on, she's very supportive. She cracks me up.
So like I'm trying to picture myself, and then I feel like these are different. Like my mom struggled with this for years. Like all those work tests that you would take, like what should I be when I grow up kind of tests.
Yeah.
She would always take them, but she would take them as her work self, not as her personal self. And I feel like there are two different people. So like her work self is very organized and like her desk is always clean and all this stuff. And like her personal self was she was kind of cluttered. And so it was
Huh.
just like she would answer questions differently. And then like her work self was very corporate and her personal self was very creative. And so she would struggle.
Weird.
She's like, this is not the job that I want, but it keeps telling me that I should be. And so then she finally realized, I mean, into her 40s, that she should be taking the test a different way as her personal self. And I think that she also just got diagnosed with ADHD, right? And so now that she is medicated, she's realizing all this stuff about herself personally, and I think that that's a lot of people's issue. Um, but it's difficult because I don't feel like I have. Okay, we can talk about ADHD later. I feel like whatever, it doesn't matter. um, but I do feel like I have two different personalities. Like supportive as a parent, nailed it. Like I'm very supportive. Like I support my kids, right?
Okay.
But if you're talking to me in a work environment, I guess it's a bad one because I would also say that I'm supportive. Like I support my coworkers and I help them through their problems, in a work setting and that kind of stuff too. But maybe not because I also feel I'm organized in both ways. And like the other things with type A, I feel like I'm that way both at work and at home. So never mind. This is probably just a different people thing.
Well, and like with your mom, she totally exactly what you said. Like I can see her being two different people when it comes to work and personal.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm very much the same.
Yeah.
Like the only reason, for instance, like the first thing you said was her being organized at work, like her desk is in order, but her house isn't. The only reason I'm that way is because, like, what's the word? Um, well, first of all, people can see my desk. Okay, people can't see my home, so I care a
Right.
little bit more, and so I want to, look professional. I want to look good in their eyes. Um, but also for me to get stuff done, I need it to be organized. Like I need the sticky notes to always be in the same spot, the stapler to always be in the same spot, you know. But my home life, those things don't matter to me as much because, I'll find it, I guess. I don't know. It's weird because like I feel like I am pretty similar. But that's a good way to look at it though. Like I'm trying to look at all these different. The other thing I didn't like about this breakdown is I feel like a couple of them said that organization, a couple of them said creativity, and a couple of them said organization, I thought.
Yeah. You know what we should have done? We should have taken a test, like one of the free tests to see what it says we are.
That's true.
But also we could do that and then post it um in the post later so that you guys can see what we are. And then also the links that you guys can take your own test and figure out what the heck you are, because obviously the article we chose was not helpful.
I know. I was actually thinking, I'm like, wow, this article kind of sucks.
Okay, well, we also pulled up the other one and it's a lot more, it's smaller, so maybe it's a little bit more bite-sized. We
Let me
can
pull
pull
it
that up
back
real
up.
quick.
Okay. So this one is very, very short and sweet. So type A is, ooh, and I like these titles. So type A is the director. Okay. Goal oriented, risk taking, good under stress. Type B is the socializer, relationship oriented, outgoing, and enthusiastic. Type C is the thinker, detail oriented, logical, and prepared. Type D is the supporter, task oriented, stabilizing, and cautious. And we forgot to go over X, but X basically means two personalities, two types.
Okay, so I like this one. When I look at this one, I think I am C, but it should be called type C, the overthinker.
The
Because
overthinker.
that's what I
I
feel
do.
like I am.
I gotta say, I do feel like these are kind of outdated. I feel like there's probably a lot more different types of personalities. Um, because yeah, like overthinker or overstressor or like I said, the hippie earlier, like the hippie's just kind of like free spirited. Like there wasn't a lot of free spirited, personalities in here.
Right.
Or even like what you were saying, like the lazy person, like they're going to get it done in the most effective way because they want it. It's laziness to me shows efficiency. Um, like because that's for instance, that's how I parent. Like I'm very like how can I be super efficient, while getting this done as fast as I can. Um, like one thing I did that was very lazy, but I thought it was very efficient was I always had a laser pointer for cleaning up toys. And so I made it fun for him, but I got to sit on my ass and point at stuff with a laser. And I was helping him, and it was a game to him. So I'm like, that was very efficient. I saw one thing. They took some kids sledding, their kids sledding, and they hooked him up to a drill, and they had a string and a string of yarn or whatever on the drill. This one worked for obviously big kids. It was like a little baby or whatever, but they would push him down the hill and then they'd hold the drill to the side and then turn the drill on and it would pull the kid back up on the string, on the spindle. You know what I'm saying? So like that was very lazy and efficient. So it's like yeah, right. And so like I feel like there's a lot of personalities that are not listed in these, and I don't even know where they would be classified. Maybe the thinker, maybe the type C is like what you said. Well, no, that's the overthinker. So I'm thinking the thinker is like the lazy, efficient person.
I think that it would still be the supporter because it's like
Really?
task oriented. Yeah, because they're like, okay, how can we do this task the easiest way?
I feel like that's a logic side. That's a logical side.
I mean, no, type C literally says logical.
That's why I said I think it's type C, and you're saying it's the supporter.
Oh, you're saying that it's logical to do that stuff?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
I
what I'm
mean, I guess.
saying. Is I'm saying laziness is efficiency. Is like you put the logic behind it. Yeah, you think about it.
See, that to
Like,
me is more like the reason I said the overthinker is because prepared. Although, okay, so type C and type D do have a lot. Like type C says prepared, type D says cautious, and those to me are like
ca-
you
cautious, I
prepare for anything
see
so that
cautious. I
you're
look at
ready
that
for it.
as you're fearful. You're cautious, like I don't know if I should. And the prepare is like, nope, we're gonna do this. I'm prepared. Where's this happening? But the cautious is like,
Right.
I don't know.
But the prepared to me is like you think too much about it and you're prepared for every single situation, which is good in one sense, but the other sense is like that could cause a lot of fear because you're like, what if this plane crashes while I'm sitting on it right now? Like, what am I gonna do? And then you're sitting there and you're overthinking it and you're
See,
like,
and
okay,
that's the
now I know what I'm
overthinker.
gonna
Yeah.
do if the plane crashes.
Oh my
But
gosh.
that's like to me, in my opinion, how I look at it is that's prepared because I want to know what I would do in those situations. But that
See,
could
and
also be cautious.
I look at that as cautious. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So I like how we went through all these and we still can't figure out what each other are and what ourselves are. We're definitely not type A though. And I
I don't feel
thought,
like they're type A, no.
yeah, and I guess that makes sense because I have heard that in more of a negative turn, like, oh, they're so type A. So I guess I don't think I ever wanted to be type A. I'm definitely I'm type B though. If I look at this, I'm
I think
very,
so too.
except for enthusiastic, I'm very like I am not passionate about a lot of stuff. So I'm not very like
Okay. I see what you mean, but at the same time, I can literally picture you sitting down and you flip your hair forward because that's like how you get ready, right? And
right.
you're like, you flip your hair forward and you're like, all right. And then I can like see you in a meeting and you're just like smiling and you're like, all right, let's go. Like, let's do this. Let's jump in. Let's whatever.
That's
And
true.
it's like,
I'm
that
determined.
to
Yep.
me is
Okay.
enthusiastic. And I'm literally, I can see
Ooh,
you doing that.
that's a good point because a lot of companies they love my my peppiness, right? Like I'm like, yeah, let's do
Yeah.
this. Like I was like on a Zoom call the other day with my team and they were like, oh, we have this call coming up and um I mean, I just started a new job, so I'm still very much in a honeymoon phase, but they were like, we have this training coming up and um a couple of them that have done it before, they're just kind of like, okay, yeah, whatever. It's just like another meeting. And they're like, you want to be a part of it? And I was like, yeah. And I was like super excited. And they started laughing because they're like, man, us over here just kind of like, I guess if we have to. And over there, like, pumped and ready to do it. And so I guess I am pretty enthusiastic. I'm definitely relationship oriented because I think that ties into what we were talking about earlier with I'm a people pleaser, so I put a lot of my efforts into my relationships, and I have a lot of relationships. Um, I'm talking friendships. I'm not like a hooer over here, just to be clear. um,
That's funny.
and I'm
I
very
wasn't even
outgoing.
thinking that, but that's probably
After
just
I
because I
said
know
it,
you.
I know, but after I said it, I was like, that sounded really weird. I have a lot of relationships. Like, no, no, I don't.
But I mean, you do just not romantic relationships.
See, and yeah, exactly. So I would say I'm not a type X. I'm not grouped. In this short and sweet, I am type B, the socializer, and I think you're type C, the thinker.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah,
Detail oriented, logical, prepared.
very much so. Yes. Yeah. And like the
Like,
logical adds to that overthinker, right?
right. That's
But I
why,
think
yeah.
I think your preparedness is not like the fearful preparedness. I think it's like yeah. I mean maybe it is kind of based on that overthinking. Like okay, I've thought of 10 ways I could die in this scenario. I'm ready. Let's do this.
Right. But I also do that. I do it with everything, right? Like I am an overthinker. So we'll be heading to a birthday party and be like, okay, I need to have the knife to cut the cake. I need to have the candles, just the candles. Like you need to have, and it's like this everyday life. And I feel like that's really like mom mode. That's, whatever. And even like packing the diaper bag, making sure that you have everything to go.
Yes.
It's like, I don't know, you just get into that rhythm. But I feel like I've just always been in that rhythm. I've always, been, and I think that's how I was brought up, especially because my dad's side of the family, they're like prepping, right? They're a prepper family.
See,
So
and I want to be, yeah.
yeah, but it got to the point where it was just fear, and we had to shut it
Yeah.
down. We had to shut down my papa because he said,
I remember that.
um, yeah, he just got really intense with it.
Well, with the
And
kids, it's a little different.
right,
I mean, you
right,
were what,
exactly.
like 11 going to family meetings talking about the end of the world?
Seriously, yeah. And I was
That's,
like,
yeah.
I was like, if we, I was a bit older actually, because I remember we were even talking about it. My boyfriend slash fiance at the time
Weird.
was, I know, was in North Dakota with my dad and my uncle. And they were like talking about how they needed to buy horses out there or needed to have a bike out there or something so they could travel back to Colorado where
In
we lived in
case.
case something happened. Right. And so like it was really intense. Like we were really thinking about every single situation possible.
Yeah, I
And
went through that with,
yeah,
sorry, I interrupted. Continue.
no, it's okay. I think that a lot of people do, and maybe it's just our family, but also like Y2K, everybody was doing that. And my mom mentioned that that was like a big thing in our household. They
Well,
were prepping and all that stuff. Um, and
well,
then
and like,
like the Mayan calendar
see, and a lot of
in
people,
2012.
yeah, I think a lot of people don't necessarily prep for that, but um, they I mean not plan whatever they like spend all their life savings and they go on these crazy vacations as if they're going to die and they don't want to waste all that money, right? It's just sitting in a bank account, so
Right.
they want to use it. So that's like a different kind of outlook, and I saw a lot of people do more of that on Y2K. I don't remember the Mayan calendar one, but I remember that, like people overreacting when they got their death sentence or whatever versus
Yeah.
preparing to survive said Y2K, right?
Right.
Um, and my thing was I was on this weight loss pill. I don't remember where it was or what it was, but anyways, it gave me anxiety like insane anxiety. What?
It probably had a caffeine in it.
Yeah,
Insane
because remember
anxiety.
I couldn't drink caffeine when I was on it.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah, so
yeah.
like
That
yeah, so it made me so insane that I really got into the prepping and I was I would panic a lot about like my child being taken and um so it just made me outright nuts. So I'm glad that I'm off of it and I'm glad that I've
yeah.
calmed down. But um that to me is I still from that I still kind of want to be on the prepper side of things. Not so much where it takes over my life, but because there's so many different things, there's different things to prepare for, like end of the world type stuff
Mhm.
or wars or whatever that um you don't know. You could take any situation and plan for it differently. You know what I mean? Um,
Right.
like for instance, I feel stupid. My grandma even told me that King Supers was going on a strike. And she's like, make sure you go grocery shopping now so you have food. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, what a great idea, right? Did I do it? No. And then it was a pain in the ass. Like, sure, I just went to different stores or whatever. But ouch, that hurt. It was like a pain in the
Are you
ass
okay?
because I couldn't oh yeah, I'm fine. Because I couldn't go to my store and like do my routine and like all the things. And so I had to keep going to different stores and it was just very inconvenient. But it's even like that little basic prepping, like I was told, I was warned, and I still couldn't even follow through. So
Ugh.
Yeah, I do get it though, because it's like, okay, so like my husband and I are kind of spazzy about it. Not to the point where I think that some people are, but like we could probably have a whole podcast on that too. Um,
Ooh, that'd be a good one.
but so I was panicking about it because it's just so relevant in, my life.
Right.
And so we actually just brought it down to, um, I have a list of everything that I feel I would grab or want to grab so that I'm not panicking and like freaking out and being like, oh shit, I forgot this, I forgot this, I forgot this. And like I keep adding stuff to it, like little things like a needle and thread. Okay. Like if the end of the world came, you're
Really?
not
You
gonna
would
think
grab
like
that?
grab, yeah, like my little sewing kit. Cause think about like even if somebody has a cut, you're gonna want to stitch it, right? Like sorry to be gross, but it's true. Um, and like, but also like your clothes or whatever. So I was like, okay, that's a small thing that I could just grab on my way out. And like our whole medicine cabinet. It doesn't even matter if we need all that shit. I'm grabbing everything. Like that's on my list,
Um,
right?
oh my gosh.
And just I'm trying to think of like just anything that would fit in my car. And then we have a lot of stuff. But the point of that is that I was panicking about this kind of stuff for a long time. And then the prepper in me was like, I need to get it out. So I put it on paper and I put it on a
Uh-huh.
paper that I would like be able to find easily if that situation were to come up. And then I can add stuff to that list as I think of it, right? So I
Right.
like that to me was like stress relief because I'm prepped, I'm planned, like I know what I want to do. And now I just don't have to think about it anymore. And that is like so nice to me. It's like a checklist, the thing that I have off my to-do list.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
started
great.
a death folder. We're not talking about our personality traits anymore, but um I started a death folder. I haven't added much to it yet, but um and I want like my mom to start it and um I'll eventually have my son start it, but basically it's like if that person dies, your list of everything where you can find passwords, where, what health insurances you have, what life insurances you have, what bills you have, what bank accounts you have, those kinds of different things. Put your will in there. I'm even putting um, songs I want played at my funeral in there. Um, so so that when something happens, like you don't have to stress about their life and how they ran their life because it's all right there, you
Yeah.
know?
They did that in How I Met Your Mother, and I always thought that was so smart because
Oh, that's
it's
right.
it's brilliant.
Well, and they had like cute little love letters. And I think I have that on my list too. Like I have a list in there of all the stuff that I want to do and letters to loved ones, which I'm like, man, I don't even know how I'd do that with every person in my life.
I know, I feel that way too. Plus then I always panic, like, what if I forget somebody who's important to me? But
Well,
you know,
and like
overthinker there.
I might not write one for you, cousin, because then I'd have to do all my cousins.
I know. I totally get it. I
That
That's
sounds
why I kind of
exhausting.
so I started my journal, and the reason that I started a journal is that I could put my stupid stories in there of like things that remind me, like something that reminded me of you. I could put a story in there and be like, oh my
Oh,
gosh, this one time my cousin and I did this stupid thing.
see,
Um,
that's funny.
and
And
then
sorry, go ahead.
no, it's okay. So I did that on purpose that if, when I die, that people can like go through the journal and be like, oh my gosh, this is a hilarious story about so and so. I'm like, obviously I don't
That's
expect
funny.
all my journals to be read before my funeral, but like it's there for when my kids get around to reading my journal.
See, and I write my journal so that I remember my life.
It can be either way. Like stories that are relevant for you to remember in your life. You
But they're not even like all stories. It's like, oh, I got this job, or oh, I quit this job, or um oh, I'm dating this person, or like whatever is just on my heart, I just write in my journal. And then because I do it so that in my future when I get old and I forget my life, I can look back at this journal and read it. And also, I was thinking about that for our podcast too, is I can always come back and listen to the podcast and hear my life.
hmm
So that's why I do it. But that's a cool way to look at it for other people.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. That's the prepping thing.
Huh.
And then, um, Yeah, we totally derailed on our personality traits. But I feel like you guys get the gist. We're preppers,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
but that was really the only thing that stood out to me with that.
So in case y'all
And
want to
then
go find where these weird lists are.
yeah, and then I really do want to take a test and see what our personalities. So right now, you think you're B and I think I'm C. And then we'll take the
Ooh.
test online and see what it says for real.
All right, I'm going to go back to these since we think I'm B and you're C. So B is on this other weird list that we didn't agree with. It says relaxed attitude, flexibility, creativity, interpersonal skills, work-life balance, and non-competitive nature. So I'm still half of these. And then C is quiet, focused, introverted, thoughtful, controlled, cooperative, creative. That's a lot of C's. And conflict resistant.
It's funny because
Hey,
it's C
C,
personality
that's
type.
funny. That's funny. I still feel like you're half of those. You're not quiet.
Yeah. Well, everybody's probably going to feel like they're actually X. Like we're just blanketed
Yeah.
X because everybody is a mixture of multiple.
That's very true. Well, I hope that was entertaining for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're entertaining.
If not, we entertained ourselves and then we derailed only a little bit to talk about the end of the world. Fine.
It's fine.
Okay, so to kind of pull this into what we just mentioned about everybody is just blanketed as X because everybody has different traits from each one. I like this. It says, "Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken." Oscar Wilde. That's the quote we're going with today.
That's adorable. Everyone else is already taken.
Yeah. So you can't just be one personality type. You got to be multiple
No.
because
It also depends on how I woke up that day.
Oh, true story, man.
Yeah, or if I'm PMSing or not. So
yeah, that's also true. And I feel like it also has to do with like what's going on at work because there have been many times where like work has been insane and I'm absolutely type A, like just get shit done, just
that's
hyper
very
focused.
true.
It doesn't matter if I'm pissing anybody off at this point. I got to get it done.
Oh, that's very true. Valid point. What are we, women?
Yeah.
I don't know. Please remember to like, follow, and comment to connect with us. We are now on Spotify, YouTube, and Facebook pages. Just search Calling Cousins. Love you all. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal, health, tax, or professional advice. We are not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from the use of this podcast. This podcast is not intended to replace professional medical advice.